Welcome back to March 23rd, 1998. Raw is back on a Monday night. It's live from Tucson, Arizona. We're just 6 days away from WrestleMania 14. Stone Cold is in the house. DX is in the house. Mike Tyson is here, but no Mr. McMahon. We'll explain why. The Rattlesnake is still going to defy authority somehow and have to face a familiar foe just 6 days before his championship match with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. Go ahead and light the pyro. Welcome back to Analyzing Attitude. This is episode number 23. I'm Jimmy Allen. That's the good Dr. Mike Sweeney. We appreciate everybody joining us here on Analyzing Attitude. We appreciate everybody that helped us get over 100 subscribers on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Give us an oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Down in the comments below. Mike, it is the go-home show before WrestleMania 14. I can't believe it is only 21 weeks between the Montreal Screwjob and WrestleMania 14. It felt like a whole lot longer than that back in the day.
Oh, yes, very much so. And it's like the landscape has changed so much from just, the beginning of November to late March here. Getting into the show, I think everyone's hyped up going into Mania with all the great things we got planned or they
Great
have planned
builds.
for. Yeah. But I think this show was a bit underwhelming for a go home show to their moneymaker of the year.
This is my favorite show that we've reviewed so far for one specific reason, and I'll get to that later in the comments as well. But go ahead and tell us what you thought about the show. We're going to grade it at the end of the show. Give us your grade
Mm-hmm.
for this episode of Raw in the comments below, because we open up the show with the glass shattering. That's right. Stone Cold Steve Austin opens up Raw proper tonight. Jim Ross asks us, can Stone Cold scale the DX mountain and win the WWF Championship at WrestleMania? Not only does he have the chairman of the board against him, he's also got maybe the greatest WWF champion of all time at WrestleMania and Mike Tyson in his corner. Seems like we're giving the Rattlesnake insurmountable odds tonight.
Yeah, they're stacking the deck and they're really playing up the Tyson part, like because anybody knows if he gets within an inch of him that he's gonna try to swing for them, or they believe at the moment. But yeah, Steve's ready to go, and you got to think his nerves have got to be going up going into probably the biggest match of his career.
For sure, without a doubt. Kevin Kelly standing in the ring and starts asking Austin questions, and Austin just rips the mic out of his hands, tells him to shut up because he doesn't want to listen to what he has to say. He said that Vince McMahon and maybe Steve Austin can be molded last week. Austin does what he wants when he wants. And can't nobody stop him. And Jim Ross on commentary says nobody has yet. Austin says that the single most important thing in his career is to get Shawn Michaels in the ring and beat his ass 1, 2, 3. Now, this sounds like a little bit of a pull of the curtain back as well, because it's legitimately an effort to get the Heartbreak Kid into the ring at WrestleMania.
Yeah, right now at the moment, where everyone's on pins and needles going around Sean with his back problems, his demons he's battling. So, a lot of things are probably up in the air in their minds at this point. So, kind of a little teaser on like you said, a peel back to the behind the scenes.
Austin says he respects Shawn Michaels and it's going to be the fight of his life. He said the WWF and Vince McMahon specifically can throw as much trash and horse shit at him because he wants Shawn Michaels' ass, and that's that. Kevin Kelly says the DX are on their way to the arena, including Mike Tyson. KK then tells us that DX is in full force, and Austin pauses him and says, are you trying to tell me the fact that they're in full force means that I'm not? He asks Kevin Kelly if he's insulting him, and Jim Ross says, uh-oh. And he asks the crowd, if you think he's insulting me, give me a hell yeah. Resounding hell yeah from the crowd here. And Austin says he's got the night off, so he's going to go sit in the back, give Kevin Kelly a pass, and drink a few Steve Weisers. But then Sergeant Slaughter starts making his way to the ring. And Austin with the Lion Knight says, hope you're not here to drink my beer because I don't have one for you. Sarge gets in the ring and says, you do not have the night off. You're going to wrestle Rocky Maivia The Rock tonight. And Austin says, who? Sergeant Slaughter says he's coming straight, and he says this is coming straight from the owner of the WWF, Vince McMahon himself. And Austin says, "Fine, I'll take on whatever trash you're going to throw at me, and Sergeant Slaughter cuts him off and says, "If you don't wrestle tonight, your match at WrestleMania is going to be a non-title match." And Austin said, "I already told you I would wrestle whoever you want. I'll wrestle you in a match, and now you're insulting me too." He stunner Sergeant Slaughter, and this is like the fourth time that's happened. But
Yeah.
this might be the best looking stunner that Sarge takes.
Yeah, his chin was kind of in full force there, flapping
Yeah,
like up with it and everything. So that was pretty cool. And also, I was going to ask you because we covered a lot in the beginning of analyzing attitude of Triple H versus Slaughter. When did he just kind of just flip from basically being like a face um, uh,
well,
authority figure opposed
keep
to
keep that in mind because this is the first time he's doing any bidding at Vince McMahon's behest, right?
right?
But Sergeant Slaughter comes up again later in this show in a different role, and we'll dive into that then because this is a very confusing episode of Raw for a couple reasons, that being one of them. But
Yep.
we're gonna get Austin versus Rock 6 days before WrestleMania. You think WCW is paying attention while this promo is happening? We're getting DDP versus Sting for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship on the other channel.
Yeah, they're scared of Steve Austin and McMahon and Tyson at this point. So I think they want to keep putting on their as much top talent as they can at the various points in the segments. So it's a smart move. Sting and DDP were always a pleasure to watch. So
Yeah, that
I
match was fantastic. Honestly,
so
they were kind of putting on a match of the year caliber match as well on the other station.
right, absolutely.
But then we get a commercial break, and the Cactus Jack and Terry Funk are taking on the Quebecers again. This match happens 11 times on TV throughout 1998. Very weird, but listen, it's always quality. So it's not like it's a bad thing. But this match only goes a few minutes, where you also have the tag team champions Billy Gunn and Road Dogg. You know they're going to eventually show up, and they show up just a minute and 31 seconds into this match, but they come out dressed in tuxedos and they have blow up dolls with them dressed like Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie. And it just kind of felt like they were running out of ideas at this point.
Yeah, that was one of the darts I think they should have, tried to throw again and get an idea out of it because it was random, but at the same time, it's kind of random's kind of been a New Age Outlaws thing. So
Yeah, and it continues to be that for quite a while.
right, and on the subject of the Quebecers, I'll take them over the DOA any time of the week, and I'm mad that I said that name because I know we'll see them later today too.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. But listen, this match gets a minute and 13, or excuse me, 2 minutes and 13 seconds into it before the Outlaws come down and they interfere. But it happens at like I thought the timing of this was perfect because the Quebecers are beating down Charlie. They're beating down Charlie. And then Cactus gets the hot tag. That's immediately when the Outlaws hit the ring. They beat down their tag team opponents at WrestleMania. They take a card table off the middle rope and put it through. Instead of putting Terry Funk through the table, they put the table through Terry Funk. And then they spike pile drive Mick Foley on a steel chair. And like, I don't know if they could have escalated this feud any further. I mean, we're hitting rental cars with barbed wire bats, throwing guys off of stages and dumpsters. And this is a really nice kind of send off to WrestleMania, kind of like a final build. I mean, this is kind of like the perfect way to do it. I just
Mhm.
don't know how they could have made this feel any more important.
No, I agree. I think they did start off hot, and I think my comments about the show kind of dwindle off here in the middle. But I would say that between this and Shamrock and Rock, it's been the most personal feud going into Mania, and they've done a great job, and we all know that the match is tremendous. So I tip my cap to all four involved.
Yeah, at the beginning of this match, and we obviously know this in revisionist history, but JR let us know kind of the rules of what the dumpster match is going to look like at WrestleMania. It's essentially a casket match, but with a
Mhm.
dumpster instead of a casket.
Yes, and yeah, we got two different bodies to throw in there, and this kind of thing gets recycled throughout the year. I mean, we have the ambulance matches, stretcher matches, things like that. This is just kind of in that wheelhouse there.
This is how you do casket matches without the Undertaker.
That's right.
Then we get go to commercial break. We come back, and Tennessee Lee is back in the ring and introduces Jeff Jarrett, who comes out on a white horse yet again. And then the commentators tell us that Jeff Jarrett has not tasted defeat since joining up with Tennessee Lee. It's been 2 weeks, so that's not really that surprising, but there's that. They also tell us that Steve Blackman hasn't been pinned either. And so we have a kind of a high stakes matchup here between two guys that haven't really touched much up until this point. Um, we also get word that The Undertaker is going to join us next live from his parents' gravesite.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
got a lot of thoughts on those ones later, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
there was this weird looking like there was some like you could tell these guys, and it's Steve Blackman obviously being new to the business. You could tell these guys hadn't touched before or really didn't have a ton of experience together because there's that weird looking leapfrog situation where Steve Blackman gets the leapfrog and then he goes to do like a reverse leapfrog. Jeff Jarrett's supposed to catch him but clearly doesn't, and he just
Yeah,
kind of backwards flapjack Steve Blackman and whose head bounces off the canvas here.
yes.
It did not look good.
No, and like the chemistry was off, and I chalk it up to maybe just first time jitters with each other or
Sure.
something like that. But I believe going forward, this is about a 2 month long feud, so I hope the chemistry gets better than this first meeting.
Yeah, and it was clearly off later too, because basically the end of the match, Steve Blackman goes for a superplex, and Tennessee Lee hooks his foot, and Jarrett lands on top of Blackman's head, and his back of his head hits the canvas again, and Jarrett hooks the leg and gets the 1, 2, 3. Steve Blackman gets up and arguing with the official, and then another official, Jack Doan, runs down and has a conversation with Marty Corderas, the an official in the ring, trying to get the decision overturned. And Jeff Jarrett just decks Doan in the face, knocking him out. And Steve Blackman attacks Jarrett, gets him with a scissor kick, and Blackman chases off Tennessee Lee. We uh, uh, we hear that Double J is going to participate in the tag team battle royal at WrestleMania. We know that doesn't actually end up happening,
Mhm.
but Blackman does, and I thought it was really interesting that they announced it here and we don't see him.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. I feel like Vince has a lot on his plate at this point. I mean, not to give him excuses. He's the owner of the company, been doing this a long time, but he's balancing a troubled champion right now, a huge box office celebrity. Maybe he just was indecisive at the lower part of the card here.
Well, that's it. Kind of sets up Blackman's future as you mentioned there, and then
Yes.
we get the aforementioned Undertaker promo, and like this promo's crap, and we're gonna get into it in a second. But we get a recap of the Taker Kane feud up until this point, and it kind of is a prelude to the great WrestleMania trailers we see that preempt each match at WrestleMania. This was a really cool recap.
Yes, they're very on their game when it comes to their production. I feel like every year, I mean, including this year, their promo packages just keep getting better and better. Obviously, we still have our favorites, and who can forget at this time with the I don't know, it seems like the orchestra, just intense orchestra between Undertaker and Kane. That's one thing I'll give on this. But yeah, I'm getting tired of Taker's promos here.
Yeah, we get the Undertaker talking to his parents' gravestones, and as I promised you last week, I will continue to do this each week, and I will read verbatim the Undertaker's promo. He's talking directly to his mother here, and he says, "I've come to a crossroads. The devil himself stands before me in the form of my own flesh and blood, the form of my own brother Cain." End quote. Wouldn't his mother know who his brother is? Just throwing that out there. Back to the quote. Mother, please forgive me the sin I am about to commit. A sin so heinous, but it's something that must be done. In the end, I hope together, as one, we can all rest in peace. A family once again. If such is not the case, I alone will serve my penance. I will burn in my own damnation. I'm willing to look destiny in the eye and go where the Reaper leads me. Please understand, he has given me no choice. I have to fight. Just know that I love you. Hearing the Undertaker say "I love you" was very, very weird.
We got people being set on fire, attempted murder, and the go home show to this blood feud has been, we get "I love you" sentimental things from Undertaker to his mother.
Wearing a sweater vest, by the way, a
Yeah,
very ugly sweater in front of a very obvious, very fake graveyard set.
right. I mean, and Kane's is better later on in the show, but
Next comes up next, but yeah,
I mean, it's even that one still. It's like this is what we're doing after since Bad Blood, so a six
Th-
month
this is
feud.
what like this is crap and it's really
Yeah.
bad, obviously, but it was really avoidable. You want to know why?
Hmm.
Do we forget that 2 weeks ago the Undertaker came out on Raw on top of the Titantron and said the reason he's been gone is because he had to soothe the soul of his parents? That was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like we didn't need to do this. This was totally pointless.
Like, and nobody was interested then, so
Yeah,
like, let's
exactly.
now they double down on it. But
So we got a commercial break. And we come back, and Paul Bear and Kane come out. And Paul Bear comes out and says he's sick and tired of hearing the Undertaker whine and cry. Paul, you weren't alone. The
Yes.
Undertaker keeps talking about the truth. Well, the truth is Kane has the same powers as the Undertaker, and I know, I get it. There's the sci-fi element of it, and these guys are supposed to be otherworldly and
Mhm.
whatever. But Kane shoots electricity from his hands here, so it's not even enough that he can light the ring posts on fire with his hands. But he shoots electricity from his hand. Why this makes no sense is neither one of these guys ever in any match use these mythical powers to win a wrestling match. You think if the stakes would be high enough, they might want to electrocute somebody with a lightning bolt, but whatever.
That's why I don't like when they bring that kind of shit into it. I mean, if you
It's
want to do
totally
it,
avoidable.
just don't even talk about it at least. Like,
Yeah.
like that one's hard enough to defend non-wrestling fans to wrestling fans when they're like, "Can
Kane's
you watch that shit?" And it's like,
yeah,
"Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely." Okay,
Sometimes
yeah.
Kane sets off some pyros and a light fixture. He shoots lightning out of his hand at the commentator's desk. And then Paul Bear says, "Look at Kane." He's talking to the Undertaker. Says, "Look at Kane, his disfigurement, Undertaker. This is all your fault. Kane, show your power one more time." And then there's a TV crew member just walking up the ramp, and he shoots lightning out of his hand, and it hits the TV crew member, and it lights him on fire.
Hmm.
Now, if you're just watching this in real time, and this is the only thing you've watched in the last week, this probably looked really cool, and it did. Even watching it back now in 2025, it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
don't know why I remember this so vividly, but literally Friday night, I watched this live.
yeah.
Friday night on NBC, they had a like Hollywood stuntman thing where a guy was literally trying to set the record for being lit on fire and walk around while on fire, like set the world record for that. And
Like,
I watched the whole thing like 2 days prior,
like how
and then they
many,
do this on Monday Night Raw.
like how many times, or like how long he can
How long he
walk?
could be lit on
Oh,
fire and then like walk around simultaneously while burning. And they like explain the coolant suit he had on and the air he was breathing, like a whole nine. And then they just do this on like there's no way that's a coincidence, right?
I mean, that's a little off. And to that fella, I mean, follow your dreams.
Yeah. He set the record though. Like I said, I remember watching it. He actually pulled it off.
That's pretty. That is pretty cool, though.
But and again, that was in 1998, so who knows if that record still
Gotcha.
stands.
Sorry.
But I mean, it's fine. Like,
Mm.
ooh, they're scary, I guess.
Right.
Cool.
Like I said, I dug it more than the Undertaker's promo, but
Sure, it'd be hard not to, right?
but I mean, like, this is what we're
I
doing on
was
the
I was a bigger fan of him just killing the Phoenix Suns gorilla last week than
yes,
this.
yes. I all agree with you on that one.
What I'm not a fan of was what happens next, but this is actually, Mike, why this is my favorite episode that we've ever covered on the show, and I can't believe I'm about to say that and follow that up with new Midnight takes on the DOA next. Not because this is a 5-star classic, not because I love Bob Holly. It's because this match goes 2 minutes and 12 seconds long, and at the 113 minute, tag teams start coming out,
Yes.
and we find out that the Truth Commission is no longer aligned with the Jackal, so they're not a thing anymore.
Mm.
The Los Bariquas have split up,
Yes.
and there's problem within the DOA. You know what that means? That means the gang wars are officially over. Thank you, sweet baby Jesus.
I don't know. I'm still kind of like viewing this as like the end of a scary movie when the hand comes up. So I
Yeah,
don't
fair
know.
enough.
Here comes the Truth Commission.
But the base, you know what's going to happen here. All these guys are out. It's a big schmoz. It breaks down, and then we're told this is a preview of what you're going to see in the 15-team battle royal at WrestleMania, which ends up being a 14-team. But neither here nor there. The crowd chants for the LOD, and Jim Ross says on commentary, "Legion of Doom are not here, and they are done. Join us for WrestleMania." We get to the War Zone, and DX opens up the War Zone. Jim Ross says Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels is the most anticipated title match of all time. And honestly, like, I think even to today, it may have been the most anticipated championship match ever, even in today's standards.
Yeah, and I think just the only thing that dampers it is just the fact that he had the back injury because I mean,
Sure.
I shudder to think what kind of match they would end up having after that. But yeah, this is the rise of the biggest star the company has ever really seen, to even still to this day, and probably the best in ring performer of all time clashing for the biggest prize. So yeah, I can't argue with that.
DX all proper there, including Mike Tyson, who's trying to show his DX T-shirt to the camera, but can't find the cameraman this entire time. Is a very weird scenario. But Triple H grabs the mic. He said, "Hunter, it took you a while to get to a good promo, buddy." He says, "Welcome, welcome, welcome, my friends, to the show that never ends," and got exactly zero reaction from the crowd to that statement.
Yeah.
Then he asked for footage from last week, and he shows China hitting Owen Hart with a bat, and Hunter winning the European Championship, and Hunter announces himself as the European champion, and he got even less of a reaction than he did to his crappy opening line.
Yep.
Hunter then says that China is going to be handcuffed to the chin, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, DX leader Shawn Michaels is going to be facing Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania.
Mhm.
Sergeant Slaughter came out and confronted Stone Cold Steve Austin on to the orders of Vince McMahon. So he's a heel in hour one, but here he's a face to foil DX member Triple H at WrestleMania, despite helping Vince McMahon try to foil Stone Cold Steve Austin not even an hour before this.
Yeah, it's not making a whole lot of sense. The only thing that I'm still happy about that she feuds with DX is what happens at Mania with him and China, because it is hilarious.
It's
But
pretty good. We then get our sign of the night, one of our new segments here, and my God, I don't think this person was a plant, but this was great. We get a sign from a lady whose boobs are basically falling out of her shirt, and her sign says "DX 3 words, bring it here." And Shawn Michaels brings the camera over to her and shows her. She also has D and X on both of her breasts, and Shawn asks if she has two nipples for a dime. And then Sean says, "For what it's worth, to all you attractive women out here, that's a skank." And this lady does not care. She is just enthralled with the fact that DX is talking to her.
it's 98. That could be a compliment for some people like that.
Sure, fair. I mean, listen, the shoe fits, right?
That's right.
Sean says that he heard over the last 2 weeks of Vince McMahon and Steve Austin going back and forth what looks to him like the biggest winch fight of all time. So there's already a cat fight at WrestleMania, so we don't need these two chicks out here smacking each other around, which I thought was a great line.
Yeah. Come to think of it, this is basically his last Raw and promo as an active talent for the next 4.5 years here. So it didn't dawn on me until that was going through, and it's like he's
7,
still,
by the way.
yeah, and he's still looking rough, like he's battling stuff, but he was
This
getting
is a
through
great promo.
he's getting through it pretty good tonight.
Sean says that he appreciates Vince McMahon not wanting to see Stone Cold Steve Austin to be the champion, but Shawn Michaels doesn't need Vince McMahon's support. He doesn't give a damn what Vince thinks or has to say. He then tells Stone Cold Steve Austin, "You better forget about Vince McMahon. And you better not, and you better forget about stunning Stone Cold or stunning Sergeant Slaughter for the 100th time," which felt like a really serious dig and kind of an attempt to halt the Austin train.
Mhm.
But he said that the only thing Austin should be focusing on is the WWF title, which is around Shawn Michaels' waist. He said that Austin has had this dream for 8 years. Well, they're the same age, and Shawn Michaels has been doing this for 13. And he looks to the back into the curtain, clearly addressing Vince McMahon, and says, "I was the only one that stuck around."
Yep.
So, and I know everybody wants to say, "Oh, the problems, the demons, the alcohol, the drugs, and yada 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 yada." This guy has broken his back for this company,
Yes.
literally.
Yep.
You've had everybody else go down south for bigger money, and he's stuck around to hand it off to somebody else.
Yep. And
It's fair to see his frustration.
yeah, it's got to be the biggest pill to swallow. Like,
Poor
they
wording
were
there, Mike, but I get what you're saying.
that's they got the had the darkest times in the early 90s there, of like just poor viewership, poor booking, and that's when he was at the top, and they're finally getting the greener pastures, and he's got to go away.
Shawn Michaels then tells Mike Tyson, "Tell people what's going to happen if Austin gets in Mike Tyson's face." Tyson says, "I'm going to knock him the." Pauses out. Mike was clearly about to drop the F bomb there, and he's already said the S word on television, so they're probably a little worried about it. And then Sean says, "Mike, Tell him who's going to walk out of WrestleMania as champion. Tyson says, "You heartbreak."
Right.
Uh, this
Oh
was
my god,
fine, I
I
guess,
I kind of
but
wanted him to just be a full time,
I
like
did too. I mean, he was
just,
great.
just
For
even like a ring announcer.
yeah. We didn't get this. Like DX goes off, and Mike Tyson is just showing his DX T-shirt to everybody as he walks away.
He's very
And,
proud of that shirt.
yeah, it was very odd. We then get a Jennifer Flowers promo, which is something I didn't remember and could have been fine without seeing. She's
Yeah.
talking about how people need to be comfortable coming out of the closet, and it's the 90s, and just like referencing sex with it. Doesn't know this is a woman that had an affair with Bill Clinton. It was
Mm,
one of the biggest talks of the times in 1998. Just really weird.
yeah.
I didn't understand why we needed to do this.
I Edge maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Sure.
Check.
We then get Farouk versus Chains for the 486th time this year. We recap Rock hitting Shamrock with a chair last week and Farouk having a problem with it, which we didn't cover on the show last week. That's on us. But uh, this is obviously a prelude to what's going to happen. Is Farouk is coming to the ring. We cut to a sign that says Rocky sucks, which wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing in the world. But behind the Rocky sucks sign is a Confederate flag, while an African American man is walking into the ring. I get it was 1998. It's not any less cringeworthy today, but I don't know why we did that. But anyway,
Standards and practices weren't as big back then.
uh, in case you're wondering exactly how this is going to go, Chains is already in the ring without any entrance music, so that's probably a good indicator of things to come.
Mhm.
But we get a minute and 31 seconds into this match, and The Rock comes out with a chair,
Yep.
and Farouk is dominating this entire match, which why doesn't make any sense. None of the other nation members are out there. The Rock gets in the ring after Farouk hits a spine buster and goes to hit Chains with the chair. And Farouk stops him, and then The Rock just fires the chair anyway and hits Farouk. And we see a replay. It's pretty obvious that he does it on purpose. And then the Nation comes out and they're dragging an unconscious Farouk out of the ring. And the Nation's walking up, and The Rock is just beside himself. It kind of gives a Jim Halpert to the camera and a little bit of a wink, nudge, 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 as they walk away, as in to say, "I got him."
This is one of my other favorite things of the show. Just that was all Rock though, and like it's so ridiculous. It was clearly him hitting Farouk with the chair.
On purpose,
Yeah,
absolutely.
but it just I don't know why we didn't have Shamrock involved. Oh, I
Not
mean,
even on the
never mind.
show.
Well, now that I think about it, last week's chair shot
He's
was pretty
concussed, yeah.
wicked. Yeah, so that was fine with me. So if we don't have Shamrock, this was a good angle to put Rock in.
They did a month and a half buildup of the NWA stuff with Bradshaw just to blow it off on the Raw before Mania and not actually have a WrestleMania match. This is hard hitting stuff, and it was fine. But what makes no sense about this is the finish of the match is the Rock and Roll Express is sitting at ringside like they're fans,
Hmm.
and they distract Barry Windham, and Bradshaw gets a roll up in the win, and he finally gets his win over his former tag team partner. But the Rock and Roll Express literally came out down the ramp to participate in the schmaz that ended the 15-man tag team battle royal thing in the first hour. Are there different people writing each hour of this show?
That's what it was seeming like, especially with the NWA. It's like, oh, we forgot, or let's add to the NWA story that we started 2 weeks ago and forgot about, and then let's bring it back in. And I don't know what the fuck they're doing here. And I thought they were going to take this to Mania, but in a way, I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah, because they clearly don't care about it.
Right.
We then get a recap of Muhammad Ali being at WrestleMania 1. It's just a more of a, hey, listen, you don't know what celebrity is going to show up at WrestleMania, and then this is a big deal, and then the Rocket Wrestling connection, yada yada yada. And then Vince Russo is out to give Sable a plaque because the Raw magazine sold the most editions ever at this time, with dual covers, one with Sable and one with Sonny on the cover. And Mark Merrow is out with his wife, and he says Sable's success is all coming from riding his coattails, but he's going to leave and let her enjoy this moment. So we're still doing the "are they together, aren't they together" thing with these guys. And Russo hands over the award to Sable, and Luna shows up. She jumps Sable. Sable has more clothes on this week, and it's evident why. Luna rips them off, and she's wearing an evening gown. They have an evening gown match at Unforgiven after WrestleMania. That kind of sets up this whole thing. Um, this was kind of a like Sable's been one of the more over characters on every episode.
Yeah.
Nobody was digging this.
No, and maybe it was because of Vic Venom out there. I don't know. He
Yeah,
got all caught up in the roll ups there, but I don't know. And like when they mentioned Sable and they mentioned Sonny in the same breath, and I felt like Sonny got a bigger pop,
for
but
sure.
for reasons she wasn't there. Yeah, I don't know, but it seems like they're at least tonight. It seemed like they were kind of fading on Sable. Obviously, that's not the case. They're about to pick right back up with her popularity and whatnot, but
Yep.
this just seemed like a fine way to get to Mania. Nobody's really into the story; they're just into Sable, so it is what it is.
Well, I mean, they had to like. I mean, I guess you didn't have to, but it probably felt like they needed to do something to continue to build that match.
Right.
Um, but I think a lot of the reason maybe the crowd wasn't into it is they were really waiting for what was next because the main event of the go home show for WrestleMania 14 is Rock versus Austin. We get a
Right.
recap of Rock hitting Farouk with a chair earlier. Farouk is now doubtful for WrestleMania, whatever that means. But then the glass shatters, and you could feel the Fed has to turn the mics down because of how massive the pop gets when Austin comes out. And Jim Ross says there's no doubt who the most popular superstar of all time is, and Jerry Lawler was even like all time. Now, granted, Jim Ross ends up being right, but at
Right.
this minute, that was still a pretty big statement to make.
Very, very much so. And I really wish they had the decibel volume that they put at the bottom of the screen nowadays in
Yeah,
WWF, because it just kept getting louder and louder from there. One of the biggest pops was January 4th, 1999. It's actually my birthday, but
there you go.
man, I think that was the loudest I've ever heard a crowd pop, and that's because of Stone Cold.
Is
So
that the Mick Foley title win?
you
Okay.
got it. You got it. So I'm excited to see this rise, and it's kind of fun seeing these two main eventing the Raw and the Go Home show when they're going to main event WrestleMania next year, and then obviously two other manias in the future.
Well, we find out that Stone Cold's actually going to be on Regis and Kathy Lee Friday morning. So Austin's already starting his WrestleMania press tour before he wins the championship.
Yep.
That felt weird, but I guess the crowd reaction is what it is, right?
Yep.
We get a reminder of the times because DX is watching this match on like a 12-inch monitor backstage. It's literally about this big. But Rock gets the better of Austin and then gives him the middle finger, which is blurred out again, and then the rattlesnake, snaps it off and gets his comeback started. Rocky cuts off his comeback though, which I thought was really interesting and really smart because they're just letting this crowd build and build and build.
Mhm.
Austin hits the Luthez press, and everybody comes off their seat, and he starts throwing punches. And Jim Ross says, "Austin's taking it to the streets now." That didn't feel like a reference to him wrestling a black man at all, but
No.
Austin almost hits the stunner, and the crowd literally like you hear it in the arena. People start gasping.
Yep.
But Rock fights out of it and scoots out of the ring, and Austin jumps off the apron and takes out Mark Henry, to show that he's not afraid of the numbers game, and it kind of just alludes into what's going to happen at WrestleMania with DX, etc.
Right.
But Austin goes to grab a chair, and the Rock jumps him from behind, slides him back in the ring, and it lets Rock get the upper hand here. The match stays on the outside for a while after some physicality. We get almost a 3-minute set of rest holds and chin locks here.
Yeah.
Which like Austin looked gassed after the shot to the back on the outside, and that had something to do with it. But Austin starts his comeback. He finally hits the stunner. And as you can see on your screen now, I implore you to watch the crowd reaction here. There's not a person that doesn't jump out of their seat when he hits this stunner. And it was so good. Austin gets the cover. They do it again. D'Lo gets in the ring with a chair, and Austin hits the stunner. Same exact reaction. But Austin's music doesn't hit. DX's music does.
Yep.
Shawn Michaels comes out and he points out in the last two of the last 3 weeks, he's turned Austin's lights out, and he says at WrestleMania he's going to do it for the last time. Shawn walks to the back, but comes back out, starts taking off his jacket, and is pointing to the crowd and asking if they want him to get in the ring. And in chicken shit heel fashion, Hunter runs down and stops him, because if you want to see Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels get it on, you've got to buy WrestleMania 14 on Sunday. We fade to black.
Right. And I actually like the build with Shawn and Austin for the reason that I don't know if it was by proxy or if it was because Shawn was injured, but Steve didn't get his hands on him once in that whole build, and that's what that just prints money for people to see him get his ass done. So I give him bravo. So good.
It's feeding the doubt too, right? It's
Yep.
it's it's making you believe that, well, maybe the guy you want to win isn't going to. You know what I mean?
Maybe Sean does have his number actually. Like who knows? But I appreciated that little tidbit of it.
Well, it's time to grade the episode, Mike. You said you didn't love it. Let's see how much you didn't love it. What's your grade for the week?
I probably talked to Crass earlier in the show. I did give it a C plus, mainly because it wasn't super hot for a go home show, but and the Taker and Kane stuff I thought really dragged me down, and Bradshaw, Barry Windham. But overall, in especially going over it with you, I didn't hate it as much as I thought I did.
Yeah, this actually wasn't one of my favorite episodes. I just said that tongue in cheek because the gang war stuff has finally ended. I'm gonna give it a B minus though. I mean, you get an Austin promo to open it up. You get Sean and Steve teasing getting in the ring together at the end of the night. I didn't hate it, but there was, like you said, the NWA stuff. I'm just kind of glad that's coming to an end.
Right.
But I am very much thrilled for WrestleMania, and more importantly, I'm really excited to start reviewing the Raws following WrestleMania 14.
Yes.
We're 2 weeks away from the vignettes of Val Venus. The Hardy Boys are just about a month away from debuting. There's a guy that flips from the other channel to Monday Night Raw the night after WrestleMania.
Yep.
Obviously, it sucks that Shawn Michaels is going away, but the character work we're about to see Mick Foley pull off after WrestleMania leading up to Survivor Series 98 is fantastic.
Yes.
And obviously the stuff with him and Chainsaw Charlie has been great, but we're about to see arguably the best work in Mick Foley's career over the next 6 to 8 months, and I'm really excited to break that stuff down.
Oh yes, very much so. Like we said, we had a hard time pinpointing where the Attitude Era started, and if you want to really get down to when it got really exciting, it's Mania and Night After Mania Beyond, and
Yeah.
we're off to the races on the best time frame in wrestling. So I'm excited to talk about it as well.
I've watched a little bit ahead, and I'm thoroughly enjoying this rewatch. We hope you are too. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Analyzing Attitude. Leave us a comment down, and give us no hell yeah if you want to.
Oh hell yeah!
Just tell us what you thought of the show. We are. Stay tuned. We're going to make an announcement on social media what exactly is going to happen for WrestleMania. It doesn't sound like we're going to have the guests we were planning on having for our Wrestle. So we're probably going to do a live rewatch. We'll announce that on socials. Mark Marrow had to reschedule on us. We announced last week that he was going for this episode. We'll drop that later in the week after we get the chance to catch up with Mark, get some personal stuff come up. But he is still going to join us. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Analyzing Attitude. We'll see you next time. That was just a glimpse into what Analyzing Attitude has to offer. If you liked what you saw here, here's what we suggest next for you. And
if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you.
Like and subscribe.